The Sorrows of Satan, the strange experiences of one Geoffrey Tempest, millionaire, a romance, is an 1895 best-selling novel by Marie Corelli, a pen name for Mary Mackay, born in 1855, died in 1924. This went through 10,000 copy editions. I assume that means it was 10,000 published of. It was a gigantic bestseller at the time. Um, while she did have some fans, Oscar Wilde notably amongst them, she was also condemned by the lit critics for her moralistic and prosaic style. Um, this book even spanned a parody. The Jas F. Sullivan's Belilah's Burdens, Down with the McWings in 1896. So yeah, like a year later, we already had like a parody. McWing being the literary critic who comes in for a great thrashing in The Sorrows of Satan, incidentally, along with other stuff. So yes, this is a Faustian novel, in that there is a penniless author, Geoffrey Tempest, who's doing sort of hack work and has written a novel which has gotten rejected by everyone who says, "Oh, it's very good, but oh, it won't sell. It just doesn't have enough dirt and salaciousness to sell. We need stuff of sordid, immoral activities in our novels for anyone to want to actually buy them." And he's at the end of his tether, like suicidal thoughts, kind of that kind of level of thing, when he gets introduced via a friend who's off in Australia, I believe it is, to Lucio Romanes, a mysterious, very good-looking foreigner who takes him under his wing just at the same time when, a relative, uh, unbeknownst to him, that he didn't know about before, dies and gives him all of his money. And so, under Lucio's wing, he is slowly corrupted and introduced to a beautiful young woman who, says she doesn't. Sybil, who says she can't love. She has been ruined by literature, ruined by the immoral literature of the time. Um, and but despite this, he continues these. Corelli does a really good job of making Jeffrey a real rotten person. He is somebody who is very quickly corrupted by wealth. Instead, he wants to get his novel published, but he wants to get his novel published not because he loves his novel, but more because he just wants to grind the nose. He wants revenge on all the people who rejected him, and he wants it bought as a bought to be a bestseller, to be a great success. And indeed, it is kind of on paper a success, but it is definitely one of those ephemeral successes where sorry, the second that it is bought, the second that the money is stopped to push it, it dies. This book has scathing satire, criticism for the publishing industry. I mentioned McWing. That is one of the reviewers he's the top Scottish reviewer of the UK, and he is basically bought. It's like you just donate money to his charity, and he'll push your book. And indeed, this happens, and his book is pushed. Unfortunately, while he buys all the critics and stuff like that, the people who can't be bought are the public, the great public, who like, no, we don't particularly care about the book. It's getting pushed by all the literary critics, but we don't really give a shit about it. We love Mavis Clare. Mavis Clare is an interesting figure in this book. Another MC, Mavis Corelli, Mavis Clare, maybe an author insert, maybe not, is a virtuous woman author who writes wonderful books which are disdained by the critics, but despite this, loved by the general public. And there definitely being the implication that her books will last forever, while someone like Geoffrey Tempest, who's just bought critics, he's bought momentary fame, but they will quickly disappear. So we've got the figure, the very almost angelic figure of Mavis Clare, contrasted with Jeffrey Tempest and his buying of the books. We very much have the kind of the slops of upper class society, where it's basically it's all sponging, it's all gambling, it's all debauchery. I think if there's the criticisms of for the book for Maria Corelli are that, like, her degradation and her sin isn't that fun. It's like, we actually kind of, he gets the money and we kind of skip over him having fun, like the hookers and blow section of the thing. That's, there's no actual hookers and blow, this is a book written in 1895, but we seem to skip over all the sinning and get right to him being miserable afterwards. It's like, well, we don't even get the kind of the fun part. It's like, no, we go right from I got all this money to, oh, I'm so tired of all this money and my life is hollow and meaningless. And definitely a thing in this book is that Jeffrey is an atheist, which, Lucio Romanes himself is like, oh no, I believe in God, and there's all this kind of dark hinting about how he believes in God, and he seems to have all these memories from the ages beyond, because of course he is Satan. Spoiler alert: he is. This is not. There's no is he or isn't he kind of thing. It's like, no, Lucio is Satan in this book. And Mavis Clare is strangely impervious to his charms, which actually pleases Lucio. The Satan in this book is indeed sorrowful, because he was angry. He seems to have been angry at God for blessing human beings, these fragile, dumb, sinful creatures, with the divine impulse, with the divine soul, being able to choose. And that's, the downfall of Satan. And his punishment for this is that he won't regain, he doesn't get to get into heaven until every single human being has rejected him. Then he can go to heaven. Unfortunately, his sorrow is that he's so good at corrupting stupid human beings. He hates human beings. He really hates women, because women should be the holder of morality, in a way that, somehow guys get off from. It's very much, there's a Dickens thing of kind of the angel of the house, of the woman is supposed to be the one who holds all the goodness and grace and love, for a house. And indeed, Jeffrey Tempest, with all his disbelief, with all his atheism and grasping and stuff like that, he finds it especially offensive that he's married a woman who was fairly open about it, who doesn't love, who is an atheist as well, and is in it for the money, He finds that, like, when it's her, he finds that particularly offensive to him, in that kind of like, oh yes, you're, and I think Corelli is doing a good job of kind of highlighting exactly how hypocritical and sexist that is. There's also, you can definitely see that Corelli is like, I've been a female, working in the writing field, where I'm looked down upon, at all times, because that I am a female. Now, Corelli definitely, like, the Mavis Clare character is somewhat hard to take, especially when you can't help but really think this is at least a very idealized version of what she would like to be, of the saintly best-selling author. It's a little hard to take. She also has a tendency to really kind of go on. This book is 412 pages. I feel like it could have been a lot shorter. It's like, it could get to the point a lot quicker. That said, it's also kind of, was an enjoyable, engaging read, even though, um, at the end, Jeffrey, it's a moralistic book, learns the errors of his way, but in a way that it's like, okay, well, he didn't really earn any of this. It's like, yes, you're going to stop being an atheist when the devil says, hi, I'm the devil, I'm giving you a little insight glimpse before you die, that, I'm the devil, so hey, there must be a god. It's like, it's rather a kind of a, it seems like a cheat. Like, if it's a cheat that we don't get to see all the kind of the sin and degradation and enjoying, like, what the attractions of all the sin might be at the beginning, it's also a bit of a kind of a strange, chopping off of things, that at the end he doesn't truly learn, through his own kind of agency to become a better person. He's basically just sort of given by Satan. It's like, hey, better shape up because I'm Satan. It's like, well, okay, well then, you know, it's that kind of thing of, and there's also just the thing of like, okay, if you're an atheist, that means you can have no morality, you can have no caring for fellow human beings, which, you know, as an atheist, I kind of take it personally. I think living a moral life is something, a good life, one where you're actually treat fellow human beings with dignity and respect, is something that you can do even if you don't happen to believe in God or anything like that. And this book does not push me anywhere to kind of questioning that belief. That you know, it's very much a religious person's view of an atheist, which you know, shows kind of a fundamental lack of respect for that, and kind of a fundamental lack under misunderstanding of of I don't think your decency is particularly comes from your belief in a deity. I don't think I that's that you know, if you felt like if you didn't believe in God tomorrow, would you start murdering and killing and being vicious and mean to everyone? It's like, well, that doesn't say I that does that make sense to anyone? I doesn't make sense to me. So yes, I did enjoy this book. It's interesting because I'm reading in this time period from 1890 to 1910. It's my 1901 project, and I wanted to kind of like engage with one of these books. It's so-called moralistic books that was popular at the time. So, and I can see why this was popular. It is engaging. It is fun to read. I think Corelli does a really good job of making Jeffrey a arrogant, uh, mean person. Even if I don't particularly agree where the source of that arrogance and meanness comes from, I don't think that actually comes from his atheism. I think there's other things that are involved in that. This genuine selfishness. I think you can have very selfish religious people. Yeah. So that's my thoughts on The Srrws of Satan by Marie Corelli. More videos later.